hello, and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Well, we're going to highlight the Connecticut Ballet today, and Brett Raphael, the artistic director and CEO, is my guest today. And Brett, welcome back to the show. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Deborah. Happy to be here.
Well, you may recall, I was watching our interview again today, and you may recall from when you were here last time, what I like to do is introduce the guests to the viewer. So why don't you take us back into your background? Let us get to know you.
Right. Well, I've been at it for a long time. I founded Connecticut Ballet in 1981. I was still a relatively young dancer and up-and-coming choreographer, having done a lot of independent work on my own, presenting choreography and guest choreographing for other companies. So I finally settled on having a vehicle of my own called Connecticut Ballet, and we debuted under the name Ballet Today. That was at Jacob's Pillow in 1981, and then we premiered in Stamford, and we began to grow in Fairfield County, and eventually started to perform at the Bushnell about 20 years ago now. It'll be our 20th anniversary this year. And so the statewide aspect of it really started to happen about 20 years ago. But we're in our 43rd season. So it's a long time. I'm still teaching, I'm still coaching and choreographing, and we're so excited to present another spring season at the Bushnell and also at the Stamford Palace. So we have a lot going on, and here we are in spring. So it's a time of gestation and blossoming and all of that good stuff. So we're excited to present new work.
I think one thing that the viewer might be interested in, which I found in our interview, is your childhood. You started dancing at a very young age. Tell us about that.
Sure. Well, I come from a pretty artsy family, mostly my mom's influence, who studied dance her entire life and was a musician as well. She went to Tanglewood. She was a conducting student, actually, during the time of Leonard Bernstein and Aaron Copland, were also students back at Tanglewood. And so I grew up with a lot of music, and she loved dance, and eventually tried it myself at age 10, and I got hooked. And I kept going, eventually on scholarship at the School of American Ballet in New York City, where I studied with wonderful Stanley Williams, who's a legend, and many, many others. So my training was both the Russian school, but also the Balanchine or American school. So I bring those two poles together. And then I danced with a group called the Stars of American Ballet, and then eventually created Connecticut Ballet, and I continued to dance with the company for at least 10 or 12 years after we debuted. And now we have
go ahead.
About 120 works in the repertoire. We don't just work with my choreography, we work with many, many choreographers, and we have from day one. So I'm one of a panoply of choreographers that we present. And I also stage the classics such as Coppelia, Giselle, Romeo and Juliet, The Sleeping Beauty, Nutcracker, of course. Many of those productions are mine. But then we have the one-act ballets, which are the new commissioned works. And we've been very fortunate to present a lot of those. And that brings us to what's coming, which is a kind of a compendium. I've put together 4 works which are going to be from our past as well as our present, all of which are choreographed by female choreographers. So we're sort of celebrating the female view and female rise with choreography in ballet. It's a fairly new phenomenon.
I know that one of the reasons why you're here is to talk about what's happening in the spring. Tell us what's going to be playing now.
We have a program, as I said, with 4 female choreographers called Inspiring Women. And they are each very inspiring, not only to the dancers, but I think to the audiences. They bring a different element, a different approach, and they're each doing different ballets. So, for example, Lila York created, back in 1991, a piece to the Copland Clarinet Concerto. This was early in our history. She actually stayed with me. I had a house in Reading at that time, and she bunked with me and made a piece over about a month of intense rehearsals with the score and the company at that time. The piece is called Strays, and it's a very, very dynamic and powerful piece. So much so that we brought it back 3 times. And that will be the closing piece on our program. Remember, this is an original work created just on Connecticut Ballet. It has been danced by others since, but it was made by us and for us. And we have 3 other works as well. Each woman is very, very different. The statements are different. The music is all different. So I'm kind of curating a mixed bill, we call it, and I think there's going to be something for everybody to enjoy.
Now that will be performed in May, is that correct?
Correct. We have May 3rd at the Bushnell in the evening, and then May 10th, a week later, at the Palace Stamford. That's the Mother's Day weekend on Saturday night. And we're very excited about it. Some of those works will also likely be done in the summer when we go back out and do Ballet Under the Stars. And that will be performed in various localities around the state. And that's all free. So I can't promise which works. Some are probably not appropriate for outdoor performance without lighting and special conditions, but we'll see. Chances are some of them will be seen in the summertime as well. So if folks want to,
go ahead.
If folks want to hear about us more in terms of the detail, of course, the website, connecticutballet.org, is available 24/7. Here it is. Thank you. And you can find out the latest about the spring season and also the plans for the summer Ballet Under the Stars. So chances are we'll be coming to a theater or an outdoor venue near you, and that includes Westport, Middletown, West Hartford, Danbury, and so forth, Stamford. So check it out and bring the family. What I love about the summer part is we can have picnicking and celebration of being outdoors in the beautiful open sky on a summer evening and watch live ballet.
Back to your childhood for a second. Did you know in the beginning that when you started to dance that it would be ballet?
Not really. I did try. I always continued my ballet, but I ventured out, and there was a time when I really wanted to do more modern dance, and I took, for example, a workshop with Merce Cunningham, the famous choreographer in the city, for a month at his Westbeth studio. So I was about broadening the scope of experience. And that's really helpful as a choreographer, because if you haven't done it yourself or been in a show with musical theater and experienced that type of choreography, it's hard to understand what's underneath it and how it makes you feel and the technical aspects of it. So ballet gave me a great base, but I did try many other forms of dance, even including African and West African and Afro-Caribbean and so forth.
Okay, Brett, let's hold that thought for a second and take a break. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You're tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Vacation rental cons top the list of travel scams reported to Better Business Bureau. Con artists often pretend to own these rentals and try to talk you into paying them directly instead of through a travel company. It may be tempting because scammers will offer a cheaper deal, but the last thing you want to do after taking time off of work and paying for airfare is to get to your destination and learn the home you plan to rent doesn't even exist. Do extra research before buying into an ad you see on social media or online. The free cruise is also a common con. Read the fine print and watch out for add-on fees, taxes, and other charges. And finally, beware of third-party booking sites that claim to sell airfare. You pay with a credit card and then receive a call from the company asking you to verify personal information such as your bank account. In other cases, you're told your flight was canceled and convinced to fork over more money to rebook. To see the full list of vacation scams and how to avoid them, visit bbb.org/travel, and to report a scam, visit bbb.org/scam tracker.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's great to have you. Hope you're enjoying the show. My conversation continues on with Brett Raphael. And Brett, what about 2025-2026 season? I know something's coming up right now in your summer. Have you thought about your schedule for the rest of the year?
Well, one of your responsibilities as an artistic director, of course, is to look ahead and program for the next year and the year after that. Little difficult to do in this environment we're in, where the funding is very much in doubt. Existing funding is even jeopardized in some cases, and I'm speaking more broadly about the arts organizations in the state. But yes, we are planning to bring back the Nutcracker in the fall, and that will once again be at the Stanford Center for the Arts and the Bushnell Center for the Performing Arts. And we will again have our Be My Valentine program in February, and we'll have a spring season. I have not announced the specifics of those yet, but we're well on the way of nailing the dates, and if all goes well, our tickets will be on sale in early June for next year. It's really important that we get a head start to get people pumped to come and see what we're doing. We want a big full house for the spring season as well. Dancers are working right now, even as we speak. We're rehearsing for these premieres. One of the premieres, interestingly, is by a young choreographer from the State University of New York at Purchase, which has a well-known dance department. And she's doing her first piece for us. This will be premiered at the Bushnell on May 3rd and May 10th at the Palace. So folks will get a chance to see world premiere productions right here in Connecticut. And we have a tradition of doing a meet and greet after the performance as well. So you'll be able to chat with the dancers, find out how it felt to them. And sometimes we even do that publicly from the stage. I also want to mention that on May 3rd at 11 a.m., bright and early on a Saturday, we're doing something completely different called a family matinee at the Ballet. That will be exactly what it sounds like, a chance for families to come, young children ages 3 to 10, exposing them perhaps for the first time to a live dance performance. They get to meet the dancers afterward. They'll see a demonstration of point work. They'll learn about partnering between the ballerina and her male partner. They'll learn a little bit about storytelling and mime. So the mechanics, the kinds of things that I fell in love with at age 10 and 11 and made me want to get up on that stage with the dancers, they'll get a good chunk of that. Classics like Black Swan, pas de deux from Swan Lake, a jazz piece called Goose Pimples, which is a hoot, and also a little selection from our Adventures of Tom Sawyer for you Connecticut Mark Twain files. So that's going to be a fun event to bring the family. 11 a.m. on May 3rd, and the prices are reduced for that. And I really encourage folks to bring their children to this. It's going to be an exciting moment. It's only in Hartford. We're not repeating it in Stamford, so this is for the greater Hartford audience only. May 3rd at 11 a.m. Again, details are available on the website.
And speaking of the website, we have a lot of dancers probably that are watching the show. How would they be able to present themselves to you? Can they find it out on the website?
We do have a pull down for audition, and most times dancers then send an email with their video or Vimeo selection and their resume and maybe a letter of application. That's really the way to do it. And then we set up an opportunity for them to come and take what we call company class, which is our daily warm-up class, and I can see them in action with the rest of the company. Sometimes we're not rehearsing during that time, so they would come to an open class, which is at an appropriate level, intermediate or advanced. But I definitely encourage people to get in touch with us. We've been getting many, many resumes this time of year because, for example, folks at the University of Hartford, dance majors, they're looking for postgraduate work. They're going to be hitting the audition rooms as of May when they graduate as a senior. And so we begin to get a slew of resumes and we try to see everybody. But then again, we don't necessarily have too many open spots. Our dancers, some of them have been with us for 8-10 years now. And those jobs are hard to come by, and we value them very much, and we want them to continue. So unless we're in an expansion mode or I have to replace someone, there aren't that many openings, to be very truthful about it. But we're always looking to see people, and that includes foreign dancers looking to come over and perhaps get an O1 visa, we call it, for extraordinary technical ability in the arts. And we've done that for years too. Our company is quite international. So you need to know that when you come to see it, you're going to see a very diverse group of people, very excited young professionals, and so skilled. It's awesome, today's technical achievements.
And if I recall correctly, the Connecticut Ballet Center is your school. Is that correct? And what is it all about?
The school is in Stamford. It is definitely serving Fairfield County, but we often get calls. For example, we have an annual summer intensive. So students can come from all over the state for an intense 2-week period or 3-week period where they can study with master teachers and the whole lexicon of dance. We program not only classical ballet, but jazz and mime, and, as you heard, other forms. Could be tap, could be composition, learning repertoire from a modern choreographer and performing it at the end of the show, the intensive. Those are very important experiences, and we want to offer that to young dancers. When we perform in Hartford, we are in spaces outside of the Bushnell for practice and rehearsal, and then we move into the main theater. But our school is in Fairfield County.
Artistic director, which is your title, and I think CEO goes along with that as well. What are some of your responsibilities day to day? What do you do?
It's pretty endless. The jobs just keep coming. Marketing, raising money, interfacing with our friends of Connecticut Ballet. Those are the donors. They can give us as little as $60 and they become a friend of Connecticut Ballet. And then we have folks who give $250 and $500 and up. And that's very, very important part of what an artistic director does, is to keep people connected to us, invite them to see rehearsals, invite new people to come, to outreach, to collaborate with other dance organizations and presenters. So it keeps me very, very busy. And planning, as you said, for example, if we're going to have a Nutcracker next year, we have to have a children's cast. We have to set the schedule for that months ahead so we can announce it and we can have rehearsal space in place and all those nitty-gritties. There's a huge production staff that supports these ballets. One doesn't just show up at the stage door with 15 dancers. There's a staff that supports that. There's a stage manager, a lighting designer, a wardrobe supervisor, a prop supervisor, a makeup supervisor. All of those folks are busy prepping for these new ballets. So we're busy.
The future of ballet, a lot of people are saying, I know about it, I don't know about it, I've been, I haven't been. What's the future look like for the dance itself?
That's a good question. People think of the 60s and 70s as kind of this golden era where ballet out of New York primarily and other capitals like San Francisco Ballet, Chicago, really took off with great stars and companies touring from Europe and Russia. And nowadays we have big regional companies and other companies such as Connecticut Ballet who have developed to a point where they're institutional. So we can support ongoing production of work. It's not so haphazard and pickup. For example, the early Joffrey Ballet was literally Robert Joffrey going around the country with a station wagon and 6 dancers. Okay. Now it's the Joffrey Ballet of Chicago. They own their own building. They produce year-round. They have 40-week contracts, etc. It's a union company. So the field has grown. It's matured. It's still not where classical music is in terms of its breadth and the support system, but we're getting there. And we have this incredible talent pool in Connecticut and around the United States of aspiring dancers. So we better make place for them and keep them challenged because they're coming up fast.
Tell us about the program that you do during the summer that you love so much.
Sure. The Ballet Under the Stars is a chance to perform for everyone. There's this concept, it's a cliche that going to the ballet is an elite thing. It's only for muckety-mucks, but it's couldn't be further from the truth. We have a program called Ballet Ambassadors where we invite people to advocate in their workplaces, amongst their friends, at church. Hey, I've got 6 tickets from the ballet. They're complimentary. They want to invite you to come and see if you've never seen them before. And you're surrounded by people from your community. You feel welcome. You realize it's not black tie. It's actually quite casual, maybe dress up casual, but it's nothing different than going to church on a Sunday. It's a special event, and it makes your life more fulfilled. So we are about that. And the summer is an opportunity for people to just sit and enjoy, check out the different works, sign our mailing list, and off we go. Hopefully they'll follow us into the theater in the fall. So those programs are the equivalent of a POPs program where we show a whole variety of dance. We might do a duet, we might do a trio, we might do a full company works. We want to mix it up, and including fusions with choreographers doing hip hop or ballet, modern dance. So we want to express all of the human experience as much as we can and leave people pumped to see more.
Okay, we are starting to run out of time. Any closing thoughts for the viewers?
I just want to thank you for your love of the arts and the spotlight that you put on the arts for Connecticut residents. It's a privilege to be on your program. And if people want to come and see us, check out the website, find a way to bring friends, enjoy yourself at the ballet. It's very easy to do, very accessible, and I think you'll have a fun time.
Well, Brett, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. It's been very informative.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll see you next time.